Sarah stood in the rain outside the art gallery, her hand trembling on the door handle. 23 years had passed since she'd last seen Elena. 23 years since she'd chosen safety over truth. A conventional marriage over the woman who made her heart race. Now divorced and finally free, she'd tracked Elena down to this moment. But what if it was too late? What if Elena had moved on, built a life, found someone else? Sarah took a breath and pushed open the door. Some loves, she thought, are worth fighting for even if you have to fight time itself. The gallery hummed with polite conversation and the soft clink of wine glasses. Sarah moved through the crowd like a ghost, her eyes searching every face. She'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times during the 3-hour drive here, but now her carefully prepared words dissolved into nothing. Then she saw her. Elena stood before one of her own paintings, a turbulent seascape in blues and grays that somehow captured both chaos and peace. She'd aged, of course. Silver threaded through her dark hair, now cut shorter than Sarah remembered. Fine lines mapped the corners of her eyes, but the way she held herself, that quiet confidence, the slight tilt of her head when she studied her own work, it was all achingly familiar. Sarah's feet moved before her mind caught up. She stopped 3 feet away, close enough to catch the scent of Elena's perfume. Different now, something earth, more complex. Your use of light has gotten bolder, Sarah said softly. Elena turned slowly, and for one terrible, beautiful moment, the world held its breath. Recognition flooded her dark eyes, followed by something Sarah couldn't quite name. Surprise, certainly, but also pain, and underneath it all, something that looked dangerously like hope. Sarah. Elena's voice was barely a whisper. I thought I'd imagined you. I'm here. Sarah's hands twisted together, a nervous habit she'd never quite broken. I know I have no right to just appear like this, but I saw your exhibition announcement online, and she faltered. I couldn't stay away anymore. Elena set down her wineglass with careful precision, as if afraid her hands might betray her. 23 years. You couldn't stay away anymore after 23 years. The words weren't quite a question, and they weren't quite an accusation. They hung in the air between them, heavy with everything unsettled. The letters Sarah had never sent, all the phone calls she'd started and abandoned, all the years of choosing the wrong life. I was a coward, Sarah said simply, and I'm so sorry. They ended up at a small coffee shop 2 blocks from the gallery, sitting across from each other in a corner booth while rain streaked the windows. Elena had left her own exhibition without a backward glance, and somehow that felt significant. Tell me about your life, Elena said, wrapping her hands around a mug of black coffee, the condensed version, 23 years, in 20 minutes or less. Sarah managed a weak smile. I married Michael. You remember him from college, safe, stable, exactly what my parents wanted. We had 2 kids, Emma and Jack. They're grown now, both in college. The marriage was, fine, comfortable, empty. She met Elena's eyes. I filed for divorce 2 years ago. It took me that long to finally admit what I'd known all along. I was living someone else's life. And now, Elena's voice was carefully neutral, but Sarah could see the tension in her shoulders. Now I'm teaching art history at a community college. I have a small apartment that's actually mine. I wake up every morning and remember who I am. Sarah paused. But there's been this missing piece, this ache that won't go away. You, Elena, looked down at her coffee. You broke my heart, Sarah. When you told me you were engaged to Michael. When you said what we had was just a phase, an experiment. Her voice cracked slightly. I believed in us. I thought you did too. I did. Tears burned in Sarah's eyes. God, Elena, I did. But I was 22 and terrified. My parents had just cut off my sister for coming out. I watched her lose everything, her inheritance, her place in the family, even her apartment because Dad co-signed the lease. I was drowning in fear, and I couldn't see any other way forward except to pretend, to bury everything I felt for you so deep that maybe it would disappear. Did it? Elena asked quietly. Disappear? Not for a single day, Sarah whispered. Not for a single hour. You've been with me through every moment of my life, like a song I couldn't stop humming. Elena was quiet for a long moment, and Sarah held her breath, terrified that she'd come all this way only to discover that love could have an expiration date after all. Elena finally suggested they walk, despite the rain. They shared Elena's umbrella, a large black one that forced them close together, and wandered through streets that glistened like oil paintings under the streetlights. I need you to understand something, Elena said as they walked. I'm not the same person you knew. I've built a life. I had a partner for 8 years, Maria. It ended 3 years ago. Not because we didn't love each other, but because she wanted to move back to Barcelona, and I couldn't leave my studio, my life here. I've learned how to be alone, how to be enough for myself. I'm not asking you to give up anything, Sarah said quickly. I don't expect, I hoped, but I understand if you've moved past this, past us. Elena stopped walking and turned to face her. Rain misted around them despite the umbrella, tiny droplets catching in her hair like diamonds. That's the problem, Sarah. I haven't moved past it. Past you. Do you know how many times I've started painting your face and then painted over it? How many times I've seen someone with your laugh or your walk and my heart has stopped? You were the first person I truly loved, and some part of me has been waiting for you to come back ever since you left. Sarah felt something break open in her chest, relief and regret and possibility all rushing in at once. I can't give you back those 23 years. I can't undo the hurt. But Elena, if there's any chance, any possibility that we could try again, want to take it. I want to do it right this time. Openly, proudly, no more hiding, no more fear. I'm 50 years old, Elena said, but there was the hint of a smile at the corners of her mouth. Too old for dramatic second chances and fairy tale endings. 50 is young, Sarah countered, stepping closer. 50 is the age where we finally know what we want and we're brave enough to reach for it. 50 is perfect. Elena's hand came up to cup Sarah's cheek, and the touch, the first in 23 years, sent electricity racing through Sarah's entire body. You really came back, Elena murmured, wonder in her voice. I really came back, Sarah confirmed, and if you'll let me, I'm never leaving again. They ended up back at Elena's studio apartment above the Galleria, sprawling loft space that smelled of paint and turpentine and possibility. Canvases lined every wall, and Sarah could trace Elena's evolution as an artist through the years of work on display. This one, Sarah stopped in front of a painting of a beach at sunset. 2 figures walked along the shore, their forms suggested rather than detailed. When did you paint this? 5 years after you left. Elena came to stand beside her. I was trying to exorcise you from my system. Obviously it didn't work. Sarah turned to her, and suddenly all the careful distance they'd been maintaining collapsed. They were inches apart, breathing the same air, existing in the same impossible moment. Elena, Sarah whispered. Can I? Yes. Elena's answer came before the question was fully formed. Yes, please, yes. The kiss was nothing like Sarah remembered and everything she'd dreamed. It was tentative at first, a question and an answer, a hello and an apology. Then it deepened, became urgent, became a reclamation of all the years they'd lost and a promise of all the years they might still have when they finally broke apart. Both breathing hard, Sarah rested her forehead against Elena's. I love you. I never stopped loving you. I'm so sorry it took me this long to be brave enough to say it. I love you too, Elena said, and Sarah could hear tears in her voice. God help me. I still love you. But Sarah, we need to take this slowly. We're different people now. We need to learn each other again. Slowly, Sarah agreed, though everything in her wanted to rush headlong into this second chance. But together. Elena kissed her again, softer this time. Stay tonight, just to talk, just to be near each other. Is that crazy? It's the sanest thing I've done in 23 years, Sarah said. They made tea and sat on Elena's couch, talking until dawn painted the sky in shades of pink and gold. They talked about everything, the mundane details of their lives, the big moments, the regrets, the hopes. Sarah learned that Elena took her coffee black now instead of sweet, that she'd traveled to 17 countries, that she still hummed when she painted. Elena learned that Sarah had kept every photograph they'd ever taken together, hidden in a box in her closet, that she'd named her daughter Emma, because it was close to Elena, that she'd driven past this gallery 3 times in the past month before finally gathering the courage to come inside. As the sun rose, Elena took Sarah's hand. We're really doing this, aren't we? At 50, starting over. We're not starting over, Sarah corrected gently. We're starting again. There's a difference. We get to keep everything we learned, all the ways we've grown. We just get to do it together now. Elena smiled, that full, radiant smile that Sarah had fallen in love with at 21 and was falling in love with all over again at 50. Okay then, let's start again. 2 years later, Sarah stood in the same gallery where she'd found Elena again, but this time she wasn't a visitor. The walls displayed her own work now, a series of photographs titled Love, Rediscovered, Each image captured moments of their relationship: Elena's hands covered in paint, their intertwined fingers on a park bench, the view from Elena's studio window at dawn. Elena wrapped her arms around Sarah from behind, kissing her neck softly. "Happy anniversary, my love." Sarah turned in her embrace, no longer afraid, no longer hiding. "Happy anniversary." Some loves are worth waiting for. Some loves are worth fighting for. And some loves, if you're very lucky, are patient enough to give you a second chance. Are you ready to discover your own second chance at love? If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late to choose love, to choose truth, to choose yourself. And remember, the bravest thing you can ever do is love authentically, no matter how long it takes to get there. Your story is waiting to be written. What are you waiting for?